Says we have to take this riffraff.
I'm trapped here?
Oh, yes. We all are.
What about guns? When do we get guns?
You will be schooled in firearms, police procedures, local laws, and many, many other things.
Welcome to Movie Matters. I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And today we're talking about the 1984 comedy Police Academy. I don't think I've ever seen it. I've seen some of the sequels, or like I don't know. I mean, I watched them so long ago. I just remember one scene in particular that they were raiding like a warehouse or something, and the one cool black guy, Lavelle, he was doing a sound effects of like a police siren, and that's all I remember from Police Academy. I don't know which one that is because there's 7 movies, which is insane. Yeah. But yeah, I don't remember anything about this movie. I personally didn't care for it.
I thought it was funny. It's a bit reminiscent of like Airplane and like kind of the like zany, kind of like comedy thing.
Yeah.
It's also like one of those comedies that like has no plot. It's just like a bunch of like gags like strung together loosely, which like I think is fine. Like it was okay. There's a few scenes that were like laugh out loud funny. I didn't find that it, like, I don't understand why a lot of people consider it a cult classic. I don't think it's funny enough to be like a cult classic. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I barely laughed watching this movie, and I usually laugh at everything. And I barely laughed at this movie. It was, I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the mood for it, I don't know. I just didn't really care for it. It felt long to me, even though it was like 96 minutes. It's short, it's on the shorter side. It's ironically the longest of the Police Academy films, which is funny. But it just felt long. Like it felt repetitive of just, we're at the Police Academy. I mean, the name of the movie is what it's about. The Police Academy. They're at the Police Academy forever. And it's like, just hijinks and pranks. And it's like not even great pranks, in my opinion. And it's just felt repetitive for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a lot of, like you said, like it's kind of these like pranks that are like set up as like gags in these like little kind of scenes. And like, it's like some of them are like fairly funny. Like the most that I laughed was at the end when they're in the riot and there's like, random shit happening. But yeah, I think a lot of the like beauty in like Airplane and like the Naked Gun are that like although there's like very little plot, there like is a plot and the movie's driven by that. And like the comedy like weaves well with it, even though like particularly in like, well, in both the Naked Gun and Airplane, like there's like very like surreal kind of moments that happen and like take you out of like reality for a second a lot of the time. But like they're I feel like this movie was like trying to do that, but also was like a little too grounded, where like it's like they didn't go far enough almost in like the gags.
I agree.
It's like a little like I don't like if there weren't like boobs in this movie, like it could have been like PG. Like
Yeah.
like there's not much in terms of like swearing. There's not much in terms of like strong sexual kind of things. I mean, there's like one or two parts, but like
Yeah.
not essential to like the overall movie, you know?
Yeah.
So like yeah, it's weird that they like seem to hold back so much on like it's restrained, I guess is the best way to put it. A little
and what's
bit.
funny,
yeah.
I agree. And what's funny is this is the only Police Academy film to be rated R.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's like not. I mean, if it weren't for the unnecessary boobs and the blowjob gag, like this movie could, like, there's nothing objectionable in this movie. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I mean, like you said, that it's not it's not in the same playing field or vein as Naked Gun or Airplane. Those are more slapstick and like kind of parody films. This movie isn't really a parody film. It's trying to be goofy, but it's not goofy enough for like the time period. But again, like everybody like loves this movie apparently, but I think it was Roger Ebert who rated this film with 0 stars because he's like, this movie just wasn't funny. And I relate to that. I didn't think it was that funny. It just, I don't know, like, the only characters I really liked were the sound effects dude and Hightower. Like, those are the only two I was like, these guys are cool. That's about it. Like, that's all I cared about. And I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. Yeah,
it's like the main character is Mahoney.
Yeah.
Right?
Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, Steve Guttenberg's character. He's not particularly likable.
No.
Which is like interesting for, you know, like being the main character. Like he's okay, but like you said, like Hightower actually has like a character arc and like an interesting like character development, even though he's just like this giant guy that like is basically just a gag character like for a lot of the movie. And then the sound effects guy, it has like some funny moments, you know.
The sound effects guy is awesome.
Yeah, but like I mean, even like the bad guy isn't really that funny.
Are you talking about the like
the like
instructor? The academy instructor?
Is it Harris?
I wouldn't even consider
his
him
name,
the
I
bad
think,
guy.
but
who's GW played by GW Bailey? It's Harris.
He's not even like. I mean, like
he's not the antagonist, but he is. But they say that the main antagonist is the dude at the end, who, like, in the riot takes, you know, the 2 guns of the one cop's Copeland and the other guy.
But I mean, he's just some random guy.
Yeah, I know. It's like, there's no central protagonist. There's no plot. I don't know. It's
I don't know. Like, part of me thinks that this is one of those like movies that like you have to like be high to like enjoy.
or seen like, in the 80s.
I mean, like what it's 83,
84.
So I mean, like you're coming out of like the 70s, like Cheech and Chong kind of era, you know, which like I feel like this actually might be more comparable to those movies where
but there's no drug use in this movie.
No,
obviously, which makes sense that there's not since they're at Police Academy. But you know, that could have been some of their hijinks that they were up to.
Yeah. I will say though the best gag in the movie is the blue oyster.
Yeah,
that's the funniest scene in the movie. I was actually laughing a lot during that. That was actually a good prank.
How they send him to, it's like a gay bar, basically, like a biker gang gay bar. And,
It's like a leather daddy biker.
Yeah.
And they're just like slow dancing, like horrified at the end of the night.
That was somewhat funny. Again, I just didn't really laugh too much at this movie.
I mean, most of the gags are like, you get like a smirk, out of it maybe. Like it's not it wasn't a laugh out loud like through the whole thing kind of movie for me either.
Naked Gun, like maybe we were expecting Naked Gun, our expectations were like on that level, but obviously this movie is not that.
Yeah, and I mean, like I did have fairly high expectations for it because
so did I.
I know that it's considered like a cult comedy classic or cult classic comedy, and like you said, like lots of people love this movie, and I was actually pretty surprised at how much I wouldn't say that I disliked it, but I'm surprised I didn't like it more. I guess.
Same. I'm surprised I didn't like it in general. Like, I probably won't ever watch it again, to be honest.
Yeah, me either, to be honest. But, like, yeah.
It's funny
it's
because,
an 11-minute episode, so...
Our shortest one yet, contradicting our longest one last week.
Yeah.
The movie was only made on a $5 million budget, and the studio like didn't have a ton of faith in it. They had like no expectations, and the movie made $150 million basically.
Wow,
which is
that's
insane.
crazy.
So it made a ton of money. Because it was through Warner Brothers, through like the Lad Company was the production company with Warner Brothers, and they had been making a bunch of financially disappointing movies for Warner Brothers, and this one was super successful, so it like kind of saved that production company, which is cool. But it's funny you mentioned that, how Guttenberg, Mahoney is like, he's just he just doesn't care. Like his character's boring and bland. He said in an interview in '84 that he thinks Mahoney's a party guy and he doesn't really know what he's going to do with his life, which you get that vibe from him for sure.
Yeah, but it's not explored in any kind of depth.
Yeah, and he's like, it's kind of hard to talk about him because he's not exactly a deep character, which is funny. He's like, I really hate when actors get interviewed and they just start in like The Love Boat or something and they go on for a month about motivation and character analysis. Police Academy set out to be light entertainment, and that's what it is, which is funny. I mean, it's true. It's funny that he sees it, but it's like, I don't think there was any deep characters in this movie.
No, not at all.
But again, that's kind of what he's saying, is it's supposed to be lighthearted and light fare and popcorn entertainment and comedy. But again, even having that mentality watching the movie, I don't know. I was expecting it to be funnier. I was expecting to laugh a lot more. Mm-hmm. It disappointed me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're like kind of analyzing the crap out of it a little bit, but like neither of us, I think, are like film snobs. Like we're not. I mean, we both watch like B comedy movies and love them. So like, it's not that like we're being snobby about like not having character development in Police Academy, you know, but like,
yes, I get what you're saying. Yes, that's not. No, I just
that like that's not our main criticism. I think our main criticism is that this movie wasn't as funny as we thought it probably should have been,
exactly,
or could have been,
exactly. And maybe the sequels are better, but I don't know. I'm probably not going to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in any series where there's 7 movies, I feel like they can't keep getting better.
Except for Mission Impossible.
Yeah, except for Mission Impossible. But yeah, I mean that's definitely the exception to the rule.
Yeah, there's very few. Yeah, because Fast and Furious is fucking dog shit. But that's a whole nother podcast that we could get into. Yeah, I mean originally for the movie, Hugh Wilson, who did the script, it played out around 2.5 hours long. Which, again, this movie is only 96 minutes. That's super short.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no comedy should be that long, and that's why they toned it, cut it down a lot.
Yeah.
I'm curious maybe there was character development.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, but, 2.5 hours of them at the academy would have been brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's other cool little trivia facts. There's not a lot on this movie. Some of the audition processes I read were pretty interesting. Like Steve Guttenberg's father was a New York City police officer, so that was kind of cool. So on in his audition, he wore a police shirt that belonged to his father. So I thought that was cool. I mean, kind of funny. Again, you probably don't need to be super serious for an audition for this type of movie, but just a cool little fact.
Yeah.
Donovan Scott, who plays Leslie Barbara, which is a weird name. It's the bigger dude who gets like thrown in the river in the Kodak film booth.
Yeah.
When he auditioned, he flipped forward into a cartwheel and landed on his back in the audition. And so Hugh Wilson, the director, was like, "Oh, you got it. Like that's what he's looking for. Just like kind of goofy ass comedy, just willing to go for it in physical comedy." Which again, there's not too much physical comedy in this movie.
Yeah. Especially like not that I'm repeatedly trying to compare this to Airplane and The Naked Gun, but like Airplane is like the gold standard in my opinion for utilizing like every style of comedy as much as possible to get as much laughs as possible. And I feel like Police Academy just left so much on the table that like was ripe for usage, like
Yeah, agreed.
it just didn't go where it needed to go. And like, I mean, to be fair, like there's not a whole lot in Airplane that's like particularly like objectionable either. And again, there's like one or two like blowjob jokes or sex jokes, but like, it's not like everybody's dropping F-bombs in like every scene, and it's like, like I mean, there is one unnecessary boobs in Airplane, but like that's the gag,
Yeah.
So, but like most of the gags are like puns and slapstick and like potty humor, like where like like the lack of slapstick I think in Police Academy is pretty stark. And like they don't lean into that like
absurdist humor.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it, I think. Where it's just like these
Over
like
the top,
wild puns, that like don't really make sense but are like nonetheless hilarious in the moment, and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, running gags and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, this movie's much more just like, oh, these like shitty cadets getting some like crazy hijinks, which like aren't even really that crazy, like in police training. Like, it's like, okay, like, it's like, I don't know what else to kind of say. Like, I don't know. It's just, like they left a lot on the table.
Yeah,
I think
I
is
know.
the best way to put it. Like
It's
I said,
disappointing. Now, what if this movie got remade in present times, like
Yeah.
present set in the present times. Like they wouldn't set it in the 80s or anything like that, but they set it in present times and make it. I mean, they could make it a comedy or like a buddy action comedy. Like, I don't know. I mean, you could definitely branch off and do something. I mean, that's also like every buddy action cop movie, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it either needs to lean into that like absurdist humor if it was going to be remade, or it should be like a parody of Training Day.
That'd be funny.
Like one or the other. Like,
I think that would be cool.
Like, either maximize the time in the actual police academy, or minimize it as much as possible and have it be like on the street with like weird hijinks going on. You know.
Yeah, I think
Like,
what would be hilarious is if the actors are super serious, like, you know, like very like police by the book, but yet crazy shit is happening and they're not laughing at it. Or like there's, you know what I mean? It's like
that's the best part of Leslie Nielsen's delivery in like all of his movies, all of his comedy movies, is that he's like always the straight man, but he's such an idiot usually that like he's oblivious to everything that's like going on around him.
Yes.
And, like, you know, like,
but like even more serious.
Yes.
Like, is what I would is how I'd play it, and it would be hilarious. Like Denzel Washington, like Training Day, acting like seriousness, but yet hijinks and like crazy fucking.
While some guys like run around behind him, like lit on fire, and like,
yeah,
you know, like,
and it's just like he's like he turns this way, the guy's running that way. He's just like, I don't know. You could totally see that. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
So I think it should be remade. I do like that the beginning shows like everyone in their dead end jobs, and then, you know, they're going into the police academy to find a better job. I do like that aspect of it. Like, you know, the kind of nerdy dude driving and his wife chasing after him because he's always, you know, messing everything up. That was somewhat funny. And that's the dude that starts the whole riot in the first place, which is funny.
Which, that part was funny too. Like throwing the apple and hitting the guy in the head was...
It was like dominoes, just one thing leading to the next, to the next, to the next. And
like, that was actually a pretty like well-written sequence and like, you know, well crafted overall. And
I think in a remake, they could even accentuate that even more.
Yeah.
Where it would be so stupid that it's hilarious. That's just like, you know, the littlest, tiniest little thing impacts the next sequence of events that causes this chaos and this riot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think that'd be funny, but who knows if anyone would see that type of movie this day and age, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that, like, I mean, we talked about this a little bit before, that like absurdist kind of comedy like died in like the mid 90s for whatever reason, and like really never came back. Like I can't think of any modern example that would be like an equivalent. Well, like we talked a little bit, I think, about the
Epic
Scary Movie,
yeah,
like, in that stuff, but like not those. I think just were so overplayed in like such a short span of time that it burnt that genre out again.
100%.
So like that's something that I think needs to be revived in like a meaningful way. But again, not just like cash cowed to death. You know?
Well, that's Hollywood.
Like, yeah.
You know, at least now. And that's why they burnt it out. I mean, like I said, there's 7 fucking Police Academy movies. That's crazy. They made $150 million on a $5 million budget is insane, especially in '84.
Yeah.
But so they tried to cash grab the fuck out of that,
Mm-hmm.
and so did like Scary Movie because it made a lot of money. I mean, there was like 5 or 6 of those.
Yeah.
And then they spawned off the other ones, but like Meet the Spartans and all that crap. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all for like make one movie. You don't have to make it into a franchise. You don't have to expand it 100 times to make $1 million extra. It's annoying, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't care for this movie. I'm glad we watched it though, because I'd been wanting to watch it. I had, again, I technically hadn't seen it, so
Yeah.
it was good to finally watch it.
Yeah, and it's been a while since we watched something that's not an absolute banger, so
Yeah, that's true. We choose bangers on this podcast, people.
Yeah, we do.
Bangers, as the kids say these days.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like every once in a while, I think watching one of these types of movies,
it's a good change of pace.
Yeah, and I think it's also fun when we disagree on whether we like it or not.
Agreed.
So I don't think anything that we watch either of us would consider a waste of time.
Yeah, no, I never think that.
Yeah, just for clarity.
Yeah, for me, if I'm entertained, I enjoy the movie. I'm pretty simple. I mean, granted, I'm not, there's certain movies I dislike. I've been disliking a lot of more recent movies, a lot, lately. But I'm pretty easy.
We've been watching nonstop bangers on this podcast, so it's hard to compare.
Yeah. And just everything's about 40 minutes too long now, but that also probably is because we watch 90-minute 80s movies now.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
we watch 3-hour fucking biopics where I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the trend of 2.5, 3 hour movies for everything now is just it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, it's annoying. So, but and again, ironically, I felt this movie, like I said, was even too long. But yeah, I'm glad we did it. I'm ready for the next movie. I've actually already watched it, even though I've seen it before. I thought we were going to do. So we're doing Rain Man next. I thought we were doing Rain Man for this one, and I watched it before this. Which hopefully I remember all of it. I'm sure I will, but
yeah,
I'm excited to do that one because spoiler alert, I like that one.
Yeah, I watched Rain Man in middle school or high school once, so it's been a long time, but I do remember liking it a lot. So yeah, I'm excited to revisit that one too.
Yeah, I've got stuff to talk about with that one too that I'm excited about. So more
yeah,
so
and that'll be a little I don't know if we've done a
straight up drama.
Yeah, straight up kind of heartfelt drama, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be.
Well, we're doing it.
Yeah. Coming at you next week.
Who knows if it'll be a banger?
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I kind of said I like it.
It is,
so.
but
yeah, it's a banger for sure. So
yeah,
okay. Well, yeah, I'm excited for that one. Definitely because this one was somewhat of a letdown. But let us know what you guys thought about this movie, or if you've seen it, in the '80s when you were young, or whenever, and let us know your thoughts on it.
Tell us why we're wrong. And why it
Tell
actually
me I'm wrong.
is the funniest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to be enlightened.
For sure. Yeah. So some guy's just going to be like, or girl, it's going to be like, oh, it's the most amazing movie because this person represents that. And they're going to go all film snob on us, which will be awesome. Which I'd love to hear that point.
Yeah.
And that's somewhat of a challenge. And that'd be awesome to hear. But
yeah,
let us.
If someone
let us
can
know.
write a thorough analysis of why Police Academy is actually the most incredible comedy ever made, it will give you a shout out in the next episode.
100%, definitely deserved a shout out if you do that. Yeah. All right. Well, let us know what you think, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, like we said, Rain Man next week, and then that'll wrap up March for us. Then we're going into baseball movies for April.
Yeah,
so that'll be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of great 80s baseball movies out there, so
yeah,
I'm excited to watch all those.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll catch you next week.